The yellow vest movement has now spread to the UK, with angry crowds in high-vis throwing smoke bombs and bringing traffic to a standstill in the heart of London. In France, the first riot of the new year has brought a spike of fresh violence involving tens of thousands of protesters throughout the country. Elizabeth Trethowan with more.
A wall of flames marks a divided Paris. Sirens now the soundtrack of the city on the 8th week of paralysing protests. Cars flipped and torched, bikes too. Even the River Seine wasn't safe harbour. A government minister was forced to flee as a forklift was driven through his office. But a bridge was the main battleground. Police shields and tear gas, little use against the crowds. Across the country, high-vis took over, flooding streets in Rouen and creating smoke shows in Caen. What started as a movement against rising fuel prices has become a weekly fight for a lower cost of living. Demonstrators vowing not to stop until French President Emmanuel Macron steps down. And now the chaos has spread across the Channel. A yellow vest pro-Brexit movement forming in London, encouraged by a member of European Parliament.
That as a Brexiteer, I'm feeling militant. After all, I'm ready with my high-vis jacket and wondering how hard it is to dig up the pavement stones and hurl it at number 10.
The group stopped traffic and set off smoke bombs outside Westminster. 4 people were arrested, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl who attacked a police officer. If these yellow vests are anything like their French neighbours, this is just the beginning. Elizabeth Trethowan, 9 News.
Violent anti-government protests that have rocked Paris for weeks have now spread to the UK. A 13-year-old girl was one of several pro-Brexit demonstrators arrested after mimicking the actions of the French Yellow Vest movement.
Same high-vis vests, but a different gripe. In London, pro-Brexit protesters stopped traffic, setting off smoke bombs and burning a European Union flag. 4 people were arrested, including a 13-year-old girl. Their inspiration, the Gilets jaunes, who for the 8th consecutive weekend clashed with police on the streets of Paris. What started as anger about a fuel tax hike has developed into fury over inequality. The first action of the new year saw familiar scenes: cars, bikes and barricades torched, tear gas fired, and calls for the president to resign. 3,500 protesters marched through the French capital, a far cry from the 250,000 who turned out in November, but still, they vowed to persist. In London, Sarah Greenolch, 7 News.